All right, what's up, everybody? So we're going right from another mid-rangey deck, and that's well done for the lightning, into another kind of mid-rangey deck that does well with the construction for the most part. So yeah, lightning and wind, I think, are the most balanced decks that we have in this again vacuum of a five-deck format, which is as prototype decks. So again, we're going to go over what's really good in this deck and what's kind of misplaced or maybe not so good. And just like the Thunder deck, this deck's a lot more focused and pretty solid. It's not as strong as just the overwhelming, just aggro oppressiveness that fire is. But we're going to look at what might make the deck a little bit better and what do I like about this deck. So, starting with the basis of this deck, the Nimbug into Siracoon into Stratomoth package is done in this deck beautifully. So we have our 3 Nimbug, we have 2 Siracoon, 2 Stratomoth. That's a great ratio. We have Alis, which can find our Nimbug. It can find our P-Gust. It can find our Sorlet. It finds the best answers in our deck like there's no business doing. So with Alis out, you almost have, what, a 5... You have 5 cards in your deck that are Nimbug, basically, with Alis, because Alis, you just play Alis, enchant them, disenchant, get the Nimbug, play Nimbug special, send Siracoon on turn 1 pretty consistently, right? So we have 5 out of 40 cards. So we draw 5 cards. So we have, we draw an eighth of our deck, and an eighth of our deck is the card we want to draw. So that's like, what, 25% chance of getting a Nimbug every turn or something like that? I could have my math completely wrong. I don't feel like actually writing out the math quick to do it. I'm just talking off the top of my head. But that's pretty good odds to get a Nimbug on turn 1 into Siracoon, which is a 7 defense, which lives a lot of things. So that's great. Warmite, we already said, it's a solid card. It basically says on your turn it's a 7-1. It doesn't attack well into defense positions, but anything left in attack, it's probably going to beat. Sorlet is so good. Sorlet's the, wind version of Necrov. Like, Sorlet wins so many combats, and it can force things that don't want to be into defense position, or things into defense position that don't want to be in attack position, and then hit them for stuff. Like, Sorlet's great, and we have 3 of them. And we can find them with Aeolus if we have to. That's great. What else is great? Laurels is a good removal card. Astrabbit, again, solid draw card. It's not the greatest, it's not worst. It's solid in here. Elichick is another way to find Nimbug in this deck. I love that we have 2 of them because it might be a little bit slower, but this is like having almost 7 Nimbugs in the deck now because we can just use them to go find Nimbug or P-Gust or something that's an answer. So what's bad in this deck? I think as is currently worded, Bag of Winds is a little weird in the deck because Bag of Winds increases defense, but nothing in this deck really likes sitting in defense except for Siracoon. And if we have Aeolus and we destroy an Celestial battle, we can destroy a rune on the field. But how many destroyed runes in this deck do we have? We have Tornado, we have Thunderstorm, we have 2 P-Gust already, we have Stratomoth that gets rid of runes. We have Arrowmare that if we enchant our Glisdale with it, like, we don't need to worry about the runes, right? So I think we have a little bit too much rune removal in this deck. Oh, and Falcane destroys all the runes. Like, it's a lot of rune removal in the deck. So I think we can probably do without the Bag of Winds because we don't really sit in defense position too much, and we don't need to destroy more runes. So I'd probably take the Bag of Winds out when looking at this deck to adjust cards in it. What else do I not think we need in the deck? We don't need 2 Pandora's Box, as I said with all the other decks. Pandora's Box, ironically, is the best card to use against the Wind deck. So if you know against going against this deck, bring in all your Pandora's Boxes that you have. But generally, it's not a main deck, a ton of, because, worst case scenario, you can always just use like Laurels to get rid of something that's big, or some other removal spell to get rid of something big, or pop something into defense mode and hit it with something. Like, we don't, I think, need Pandora's Box as much as the game wants us to have it in this, 5 deck format. Uh, what else might I take out? I might take out the Jolton. Um, I'm a little. I don't know if I need that in the deck because a lot of our mid-range stuff is already pretty big, and then we don't really need Island of Aeolia out but I'd like to keep the 2 islands in there just for the chance at using it to destroy stadiums and buffer stuff without our opponents having an answer to it. One Ambrosia is fine, 2 Next Gods is fine, some Master Rabbits is fine, Torlitz is great, Elchek's fine, 1 Falcane is fine because Falcane, is a way to easily destroy all the runes for cheap expending. Let's see, Arrowmare. Do we have only 1 Arrowmare in this deck? Okay, with 2 Arrowmare, 1 Glisdale. I would probably, so for this deck, what would we add? I'd probably add 1 more Glisdale, because Glisdale can be pretty big for 2. What else? I'd probably get some kind of either Laurels, or this could be like Shield of Achilles, another removal spell, basically. What else? Exaltair, I think it's fine as nice little, like, okay, maybe we can use this to knock something out. I'm okay with that. What else would we add? I mean, maybe if we have access to Sonicore, we'd add Sonicore in. We could add maybe another Warmite in. Honestly, if possible, I'd run a 3rd Aeolus. If that's in the 12 card package we get with the deck, I would run 3 Aeolus because Aeolus gets any other answer from our deck into our hand super quick, which is really good. Aeolus is one of the best tutor cards, like just finding what you need. And because Wind has so many just like, okay, I need to destroy a rune in play, go find Pegas. I need to destroy Sorlet, go find Sorlet. I have nothing that I need to answer right now. I'll get my Nimbug and start my Sirikun strategy. So I think we want to add more cards to defend things. So if we play Rusty Laurels, if we can get some counter runes in here, like, again, Shield of Achilles to protect our Sirikun, that would make this deck better. So I would say hopefully Shield of Achilles or Poison Tip Arrow is in this deck when we get the 12 additional cards. And you'd run either Poison Tip Arrow or Shield of Achilles or one of each in these extra slots. But again, this deck doesn't really have too much to take out because it's still pretty focused. So I'd add some more control, or I'd add some Aeolus, whatever we can do to keep our Sirikun alive. So some counter runes and some Aeolus. That would make this deck stronger. That's the Wind deck for you. I think the Wind deck is in an okay place. It can go really fast to get Stratamoth out, especially if you go first and to get that Nimbug out turn 1, which is super consistent with the deck, and your opponent can't answer the Sirikun right away. Bam, you get Stratamoth. And maybe they answer it right, and you play Resting on Your Laurels on your turn, and you play another Nimbug again because you find another one with Aeolus or something, and do the Sirikun combo again, and now when you get Stratamoth out, Stratamoth will be even bigger. So this deck, I think, is solid. It's a nice mid-range deck. Not much you have to do to make it better. And we got one more deck to look at, and that will be it for these 5 videos in the series. So see you in the next video, guys. Oh, wait. I didn't mention last time. Subscribe, like, all that cringe YouTube stuff. I appreciate it. Inflate my ego, inflate my numbers. Woo. If you think I'm wrong with anything too, just tell me I'm wrong. I would love to talk to you guys. I like debates. I'm never going to be like, no, you're wrong and be aggressive about it. I'm like, oh, I don't think you're right, but we can talk about it because I want to see what would make this game better. So let's talk about what make this game better, what I'm wrong about, what you're right about, what you're wrong about, what I'm right about. If you thought that you were thinking something and then I say something and you're like, oh yeah, I agree with that, tell me that too. Let's see what we can do with the discussions. I've had some great talks with everybody so far. Like, subscribe, have fun. See you in the next video, and peace.